Okay, in this video, we're going to deal with percentages with 5s and 10s like 15%, 25%, and like 20%. And so, let's begin. So with 15%, instead what I'm going to think is, what's 10%? 10% is very easy. 20 times 10% is just 2. Now, we got to know, if we go ahead and multiply by 5%, half of 10%, it's going to be half. So it's going to be 1. And so 15% is going to be 10% plus 5%, and so we get 3. So our final answer is 3. And if you want to verify, type 20 times 0.15 and you're going to get 3. Now for the next one. So 25%, instead what I'm going to do, a little bit different. 25% we know is a quarter, 1/4. So I'm going to multiply by 1/4. 40 times a fourth is just 10. And so that's our final answer. Okay, another 15%. So we have 37 times 10%. Now I'm showing all the work, but when you get good at this, you don't need to show any work. 37 times 10% is going to be 3.7. Now 37 times 5%, so it's going to be half of 10%, and we're going to get 1.85. Because 1.85 times 2 is 37. Another way of thinking about this, 18.5 times 2. 18 times 2 is 36. 5 times 2 is 10. That's how you get 37. That's just another way of thinking about it. And so now we need to add it up. So we know 7 plus 8 is 15. So we're going to get 0.55. We carry the 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. And so we get 5.55. All right, now we have 20%. So similar idea, 58.6 times 10%. So if we multiply by 10%, just move the decimal over, and we're going to get 5.86. And so if we want to do 20%, just double it. Now this is where we can do a little bit of mental math. If we say we have 5.85 times 2, hopefully you know how to do that in your head, because it's similar. 0.85 times 2, we're going to get 1.7, so we're going to get 11.7. Now obviously we have 5.86, so the difference is 0.01. So just multiply that by 2, and so we're going to get 0.02. So our final answer is, you take this piece, take that piece, add it together, you're going to get 11.72. And so this right here is your final answer. So now we have 35%. So similar idea, 32 times 10% is going to give us 3.2. But we want 30%. Actually, we want 35%, but let's just do 30%. So we're going to multiply by 3, and we're going to get 9.6. Now, if we did 5%, it's going to be half of 10%. So we're going to get 1.6. And so now just add it up. 9.6 plus 1.6. Now it's going to give us a 2. Carry the 1. 1 plus 9 is 10. 10 plus 1 is 11. And so we get 11.2. Of course, verify with a calculator. And now for the last one. And for this one, I'm going to do it a little bit differently. Instead, I'm going to multiply by 50% because 45% is very close. And so half of 42 is going to give us 21. Now we want to get 45%. So we also need to know what is 5%. And 5% is 10 times smaller than 50%. So 5% is going to be 2.1. And so we want to get 45%. So we can do 50 minus 5. That'll be 45%. So we'll do 21 minus 2.1. Now we can also do this in our heads. You know, this says 21. In a way, I can make this into a 20, make that into a 10. 10 minus 1 is 9. 20 minus 2 is 18. So our final answer is 18.9. And that's all we need to do for these types of problems.